That is a huge try.
What a pass again. Oh, that's a bullet ball.
Opens up. Huge hole through the middle.
And Danny Norman charging up the field for a team, trying to get them home in this series.
You are listening to the Touch Heads podcast. Here are your hosts, Danny Norman and Mitch Walkerton.
G'day, Touch Heads, and welcome to another episode of the Touch Heads podcast. I'm Mitch Walkerton and my co-host, Danny Norman. How are you, Danny?
Good, Mitch. Ready to go for another big episode. Lots to cover in today's episode. No guests today, but ready to just get straight into things.
Yes. How's your week been?
Good. Pit and peak. I don't really have a pit. I think I've had a really good week. I'm on school holidays though, so for all my teachers listening out there, you would know the feeling of being on school holidays. Come off a really nice weekend with the family for Easter, and yeah, nothing to complain about. What about you, Mitch?
So my pit would be, I had a few people over. Like Easter's great, right? It's always a time you see family and friends and whatever. Had a few people over on Sunday, and then we kicked on. And I woke up yesterday with the worst hangover I can remember in a long time. The worst. Pounding head, sore throat, dry mouth, horrendous. I lay on the lounge nearly all day. Like, Macca's for lunch, jumped in the pool, didn't help, just felt crap.
Yeah.
He's in bed at 7:30 last night. Awful. Do you have a hangover cure, Danny?
Yes, I do have a hangover cure. Yeah. Well, mine's a bit funny, like, because I've got Koa now, and you think back to when your kids were that little, having a hangover in a 2-year-old is like hell on earth. So before I go to bed, and not that I do this very often, but before I go to bed, I'm always smacking 2 Panadol, 2 Nurofen, and sculling a water before I sleep. Like, that's a non-negotiable.
Yep.
Like, I set it out on my bed ready to go for when I get home.
Okay.
When I wake up the next day, normally I'll go down and jump in the ocean. That always helps.
Yes.
And I have to have this pork. It's like a pork and gravy roll from this Vibe shop up in Queensland. People know what I'm talking about if you're on the Gold Coast. Pork gravy and crackling roll with a vanilla Coke. And if I have that, I'm good. I'm good.
I was thinking about, like, I remember when I had little ones and used to be hungover, you used to hang out for the midday sleep. Come on, mate. Like, it's almost time for bed. And as soon as they go down, it's like, yes, I can get an hour myself.
Yes. And I'm one of those people that, like, won't sleep with him during the day. Like, I refuse because I'm like, I've got so much shit to do, blah, 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 running around. But if you're hungover, I
if you're
cave in
hungover,
and
it's
I'm like, nah.
bring
come
it on.
Mate, cuddle up, let's go.
Look at this. It's
Let's
11
have a
o'clock,
3-hour
mate.
nap. Yeah.
Very tired.
Yeah, man.
My peak of the week, obviously, it's good seeing everyone, but my Manly Seagulls, we finally had a win on Thursday night.
Yeah.
And that feels like a very long time ago, but they finally had a win. So it's
I know Scrano would be beaming right now after that. Kieran Foran, well done. What a freaking epic turnaround by the boys.
Yes, very, very good. So shout out to the Eagles. Love it.
Yeah,
finally had a
Eagles. Win. All right, let's jump into our news, Mitch. There's so much happening in the touch football world.
There is.
Far out. So let's go straight into the NZ teams were announced a couple of days ago on the 2nd of April. Shocked a few people, to be honest. Me included. I think let's just start with the men's team.
Yes.
I think the biggest one to note there was no Finn Barnett.
Yeah. So I think I text you, right? So I haven't been watching a lot of the NT. I haven't seen a lot of the nationals and stuff from NZ. But at the World Cup, admittedly it was 2 years ago, he was fantastic. He was their best winger by an absolute mile. So I'm really surprised that he's been listed as a reserve and not in the 16.
Yeah, he actually played NZ Nats, and I'm fairly certain his team came second in the final. And he definitely played. And obviously, like, for those who know Finn, he's a great dude. He's an awesome guy. Not only does he bring skill to a team, but he brings so much culture and adds so much in that area. I was absolutely baffled when I didn't see him. So, it's a bit disappointing that he won't be there come Asia Pacific Cup time, and not sure of the reason why, but it's a huge shock. I think a lot of people were shocked by that.
Yeah.
Any more in the men's that you noted?
No, E4 and the rest, they all sort of pick themselves.
Yeah.
You know, there are some new players in, or with all three teams really. But, Finn was the one that sort of stood out for me with the men's.
Remember too, for the people that are listening, and if you're just tuning in for the first time and you're not quite sure how this all works on the international level, it's a pay-to-play sport still. Australia are super lucky where it is a funded program now and they don't have to reach into their pockets. But I know for many other countries, they still have to pay their way to get to these tournaments. And look, getting to Mudgee would not be cheap at all. So
No.
I think that might even be a factor that comes into it too with any international team travelling, because it would cost an absolute bomb to get over here.
Yeah.
Particularly with fuel costs and all of that at the moment too, and cost of living. Oh my God, that's just another story for another time. What were you going to say? What were you going to ask me, Mitch?
The women's opens. Did you have a look at their team and what were your thoughts?
Yeah, huge to not have Shani. She was their GOAT last year. I have seen, because Zaid as well, Sarah Baldwin, she is living in Australia to play league. And I was under the impression she wasn't playing, but she's now playing. So that's a huge pickup for them because she's an absolute gun.
Okay.
And Destiny, one of their mainstay players as well, has moved to the mixed. So there's a bit of movement. And I think that might have been by choice. I don't know. I'm just kind of piecing some puzzles together here. But yeah, that mixed team looks red hot.
Yeah.
Red hot. So I'm looking at, obviously, they've got Roy Prasad as the coach.
Yes.
And he's a mastermind of the mixed game.
He is.
Has played in the Australian mixed team before as well. Actually was born and grew up in Mudgee, I believe. So this is his hometown. He's coming back to coach for New Zealand. He knows the way Australians play. He's very, very smart with how he runs his teams. He's great at bringing people together. Their mixed team looks like it's pretty stacked.
It does. The mixed team does look, very, very handy. So we'll dive into it more closer next week or in the coming weeks. But it was good to just sort of touch on the teams. And
absolutely.
Do we know when the Aussie team will be announced, Danny?
I don't think it's being announced for another week or two, which is crazy. I think I'm getting bombarded with questions, particularly for podcast-related reasons. Just, hey, when are the Australian teams coming out? When are they getting announced? I don't know what the hold-up is.
Okay.
So, there could be a few things here and there everywhere. I don't know. You know what it's like in the touch football world. So I would say another week or two. And I think once they're announced, we'll be able to do a bit more of a deep dive. And hopefully some other countries we can gather some more intel. I know Fit just released the draw today and the player registrations as well. So that could be a reason why they're not named yet, but I'm not too sure. Yeah, hopefully in the next week or two, we'll get those lists out and we'll be able to do a bit more of a deep dive into the teams.
Yeah, I saw, Danny, you'll be playing 2 games on the Thursday, 3 on the Friday, 2 on the Saturday, and then finals on the Sunday.
Yeah, I think the Women's Open has the most games. Is that right? Because they're all one big pool.
Yeah.
So Women's Open, 8 teams or 8 teams. 7?
Yeah, you must have 8 teams. Yeah, 7 round games.
8 teams. Yep, so 8 teams, no quarterfinal, and then a straight semi and grand final.
Yeah.
The men's are split across 2 pools, so there's 10 teams, 5 in each.
Yeah.
The mixed, I can't remember off the top of my head. Have you got it in front of you?
I don't. I should.
Oh, gosh. I don't know either.
Sorry. World's worst manager.
Okay.
World's worst manager for the Chinese mixed opens team.
You don't know how many games you have.
No, I don't. I know that I know that we opened the tournament against Tonga on field 1 on.
Oh, it's the first game of the
Thursday.
tournament. Yeah.
Yes, starting with the big
That's
guns.
Epic.
Yeah, it's great.
How good's that?
Yeah.
How's the prep going for Team China mixed?
Look, going great. Everyone's doing a lot of, putting a lot of videos and doing a lot of stuff themselves.
Yeah.
And then we've got a couple of weekends coming up where we'll get together and, work as a team. And the reality is it's a building block for the Touch World Cup in 2028. That's really the how they go will be good, but it's more so, starting the process for New Zealand in 2028. That's the key.
And this is a great tournament for countries to do that. And I'm actually surprised that there's no Japan. Cook Islands don't have many teams in. I thought there was going to be more of them too, because it's such a great opportunity and stepping stone, like you said, to start building now.
Unbelievably good experience to play against Australia, New Zealand, depending on who which other teams come for the different divisions. Ideal preparation.
Yeah.
And then you've got the seniors in Japan.
It comes down to a money thing though. Yes,
100%
and that too.
It does.
It has to come down to a financial thing because I don't know. And Australia's so expensive to get to. Like, I wonder if, had it been in another country, had it been somewhere more central or easier for people to get to, like Japan, I don't know how many teams are going in the Masters in Japan.
Yeah,
I'd love to see the numbers, because all the Australian master teams are self-funded as well. So I'm really keen to see, how many enter in that tournament.
Yeah.
And if the location is a reason for teams maybe not coming and entering in the Opens Asia Pacific Cup. But, a lot of these teams, and I think you said it to me a couple of weeks ago, China is mainly Australian-based.
Yeah, we are. There's only 3
Yeah.
coming. There's 3 coming down from China, and then there is 13 from locals from Australia, sort of thing. So
Yeah. And I
Yeah.
think Cook Islands are fairly similar. I know Samoa has a few Australian-based players as well. So, I don't know. It's a weird one. I think something we probably need to do a bit more of a deep dive
yeah,
on
we do. We do.
next season. For sure.
Yeah.
Okay, well, the draw, like we just said, was released this morning. So we shared it on our this morning. So we're recording it Tuesday, the 7th of April right now. So tomorrow when this episode's released, I'll repost it on our stories again and you can go through, find the link and check out what the men's mixed and women's open teams will be up to at the Asia Pacific Cup. It's looking like a few epic days of touch footy being played out. There's a live stream, many fields running. It'll be great.
You know what's great too? I just noticed that Australia play New Zealand on Anzac Day across the divisions.
Yeah, I think that was intentional. So
Yeah.
I believe that the Trans-Tasman is being weaved into the event as well. So
Right.
what I mean by that is we don't play New Zealand 3 times, but I believe it's something like because we play New Zealand in the round games. Well, the women's do, the men's don't. The women's do, the men's don't. So I don't actually know I don't know how that's going to work then, how they work that into a Trans-Tasman. Maybe they're not doing it. But from what I heard was that if, for example, Australia beat New Zealand in the round games, but New Zealand beat Australia in the final, New Zealand would win the Asia Pacific Cup, but Australia would retain the Trans-Tasman because they won it the year before and it was a 1-for-1. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it makes
If
perfect
New
sense.
Zealand beat the round and the final, they'd win Asia Pacific Cup and Trans-Tasman. But if you have a look at the draw, it doesn't look like they're playing the men's at any point in the lead up. I'm not sure about the mix. The women's definitely are having a round game, so I don't know if they're still doing that or not.
Yeah.
Food for thought.
Yes.
All right, guys, we're going to take, unless you've got anything else to add to the Asia Pacific, we're good?
All clear.
All
Thanks,
clear.
Danny.
All right, we're going to take a quick break, guys, and we'll come back with some news on touch football in Australia.
Welcome back. Danny, we're going to just switch up and talk about NTLs now. There was just a few little updates. So do you want to kick things off for us?
Yeah, so the Alliance State Merit teams were announced, Mitch, after the NTL. So for people that were unaware of what was going on here, we actually had the Australian selectors at the NTL event, and they were actually selecting these teams. So as a part of the new selection policy for Touch Football Australia, the selectors and coaches, I believe, had a bit to do with it, but it was mainly on the selectors walking around, watching the Alliance teams play so that they could formulate these Alliance merit teams and essentially get some eyes on players across those Alliance states for bigger picture, like the Australian systems and things like that. So that is sort of where they landed with those. They named a women's open, a men's open, a women's 20s, and a men's 20. So no mixed alliance teams at this point, but just the men's and women's 20s and opens. So Mitch, you can talk us through some of the teams.
Well, I'm actually surprised they did the 20s, but I think it's great. Again, the
it's
more
awesome.
the more that they can do, for the alliance states, the better. So I'm not sorry to the punters out there. I can't name everyone, so I'm just going to go by state. So the women's opens had 9 from ACT. They had 2 from South Australia, and they had 3 from Vic. For the men's opens, they had 4 from ACT. Sorry, they had 8 from ACT, Mitchell.
Yep.
4 from WA, 2 from South Australia, including our man Toby.
Nice, Toby.
Toby Gabrich, who was on the pod. Good on you, brother.
Love it.
Women's 20s, there was a really good cross mix there, Danny. We had 5 from ACT, 2 from WA, 5 from Vic, and 2 from South Australia.
Yeah.
And then in the men's 20s, 7 from Tassie.
That's amazing. Yeah.
And they went really well. They won a few games and they played really well. We had 4 from ACT, we had 2 from the Northern Territory, and we had 1 from Victoria. So to all of those Alliance players, families, and coaching staff, TFA put up the lists of who made those merit sides. Really, really well done. It's not easy, high level competition playing against Danny and, all the, the best in Australia. And to be recognised. Again, shout out to TFA, Danny. Like, it's such a good initiative to really pump up the Alliance states.
Yep. I think it's good. I'd like to see if they could do some more, Mitch, with these teams, whether, like, I know it's crazy, but even if those state merit teams were to come to like an Origin preparation camp and maybe like play against the Queensland women's or the New South Wales women's in the lead up to their preparation. This is obviously talking long term into next year's Origin series, or even an Australian team. Like, it would be amazing to have all those players come together and help the Australian teams prepare as well. I don't know where the funding comes for that.
Yeah,
but
that's right.
Just it is really nice to be named into a merit team, but I'd love to see something come of it. And it could be a really good opportunity because I know at these Australian camps, once the teams are selected, it's really hard to have quality players and teams to play against in order to prepare for the event. And I feel like this could be a really good way to get the Alliance state merit teams involved and actually get together as a team and have like a weekend together training and camping as a one-off. I don't know, something to think about. Yeah, really, really happy that they named the 20s as well. I'd like to see something similar happen at the NYC, and I think they did do this last year with the 18s, potentially.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, so I'd love to see that.
Again, there's a lot of planning and there's a lot of notice with regards to the camps. So, maybe if you did give enough notice, they are flying from all around the country, which there is a cost
and financial. Yeah, what does that cost? What does it look like?
Absolutely. But, I hear you. It's food for thought. And again, when we eventually catch up with the TFA guys, it's something we can put to them, Danny.
Yeah, for sure. All right, Mitch. Last night, I had a message, and I think you did too, from our good friend Anthony Dudek of the podcast.
Huge fan of the podcast.
Huge
Shout
fan
out,
of Dudy. He is the mastermind behind a lot of what has happened at Sydney Scorpions over the years, and I know he's in a different role now, but Scorps have just released the Sydney Scorpions Almanac history page. And for those who are unaware of it, it's shared on our stories and I will reshare it again. Unbelievable amount of work has obviously gone into this. And I want to, before I go on a tangent into Sydney Scorpions, I was actually talking to my father-in-law, and everyone would know who Greg Norman is, not the golfer, the elite touch football man, Greg Norman. And we were having a discussion on the incredible work that Cary Thompson has done with Touch Almanac and the website that he created and how much time and effort had gone into that website. Unbelievable. I don't believe Cary is doing it anymore. I think he stopped a year or two ago. And it's sort of like, and I don't know how he kept up for so long with more and more touch being played. It's unbelievable. But it's now on the onus of countries or regions and states to keep up with their own history. And I just can't bang on, and Greg was in the same boat, about how important it is to, A, keep a really clear note of history so that it's really easy to read and find, but also to make it accessible and really easily accessible for people to have a read and, celebrate the history of our incredible sport. So, Cary's done so much work in this space and built it up to this point where I think now it is really the Sydney Scorpions, the Southwest Queensland Sharks, the Hunter Western Hornets, Touch Football Australia, New South Wales, Queensland. It's now their job to take it to that next level and really have it clear and accessible for people to see and access and celebrate the history of our incredible sport. So, if you jump on and have a look at the Sydney Scorpions Almanac, you'll see a range of data that's been put on there. It's got player appearances. It's got most wins at an NTL competition per affiliate, per team even, per player even. It's unbelievable how much has gone into this. Have you had a read of it yet, Mitch?
I haven't gone into the Scorpions one, but before we get any guest on, I go to Touch Almanac and I have a look at how many tries have they scored, how many this. Like, it goes back to NYC that started in 1996. It's got every player that's ever played in the school system. It's got every international. It's unbelievable the amount of data that's in there. And I hear, it's great that Scorps always had their almanac with their teams and all the other bits and pieces, so you could go and see.
Yeah, like on a spreadsheet and all of that. But that's not easily accessible. Like, it is for some people that have the software and all of that, but this is so clear cut and just easy to access. That's the key. It's giving people the opportunity to access it and be able to take on the information clearly.
Yeah, for sure. And it's really good to be able to see we do sort of fall into recency bias where we think because they won recently, they're the best ever and other bits and pieces. So then go and compare them to someone who has won 5 in a row, 6 in a row, or whatever they've won over a number of years.
In whatever era that was,
Correct.
when it was like a totally different era. Like this happened, this chat happens all the time in like the women's open space. Some teams that played like I'm not trying to toot Sydney Scorpions horn, but in the era that we came through and won back to back to back, like all those girls that were playing NRLW now are playing. It was an absolute like slog of a tournament to get through. It's so different to the modern game now, and we're developing our own athletes, and not as many of those big names like the Taryn Aitkins, like the Hayley Maddocks, like the Tamika Uptons are at these tournaments anymore. Yeah, I mean, you could argue that it's totally comparative through whatever era, but I feel like some of the eras, and you want to see what people have, or how many they've won in what era that was, because it just paints a totally different picture, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I always like knowing who's won the most. Like, I know it's like how many state cups has he won, or how many NTLs has she won, or whatever. So, if we've got organisations like what Duty and the Scorps have done, like what Cary, previously did for everything, international and everything. On his own, basically, as well, which is crazy. Yeah. But I just really like how they've, and I'm like certain Duty has done a lot of this work because, and this is what he's so great at, is breaking down the data, analysing it, and having it really clear to read. Like, I'm just flicking through it now. They've got representation and longevity for playing groups that reflect over 20 years of service. So there's obviously the Cooper Medal, and leading the way is Heath Cooper. For 30 years he has played for Sydney Scorpions in that event. It's unbelievable. You've got Chungi on there, Fahim, David Chung, Dave Roberts, Michelle Smith. There's so many people on there, and it's unbelievable what they've put together. They've got player awards on there. Like, there was one I was looking on. David Chung has won 11 TFA Player of the Final awards. That's got to be a record. 11?
11. I think I've played in probably close to 11, and he's won a Player of the Final award for every single one. That's unbelievable. Absolutely outrageous. Or the Croft Medal, which is
Gary Croft.
Gary Croft, yep. So that's just within the Scorpions contingent. Like, Mark Leonard's on there for winning it 6 times. James Marks is on there for 5 times. Willie Bishop 4 times. Like, that sort of history is so incredible to, as like a retired player, maybe to reflect on and be like, wow, look what I contributed to this sport. But it's so important for this next generation of young player coming through see that and go, look at what these people achieved, the level of respect that they should have for them for what they've done for our game. I just think there's so many, incredible work done here by Sydney Scorpions, and I'm hoping that this is the start of many affiliates, regions, states getting behind and doing something similar. Yeah, for sure. It's all about trying to get that data right. Like, you've always, you see other organisations do it. If you don't stay on top of it, it becomes very hard to then manage to go back and find data and ask for things, sort of things. So, absolutely. Huge shout out there. I believe there might be an Australian camp happening this weekend for, some of the players. Yeah, so the Opens Australian teams are training this weekend. It was meant to be in Rocky. Mm-hmm. But as you've probably seen, I don't know if you've seen it on social media, Rocky's fields have been thrashed by some recent flooding that's going on up there in wild weather. So I believe they just weren't playable for hosting a camp. So, they're training Redlands this weekend. All the men's mixed and women's opens teams having another run before the Asia Pacific. This would be the last camp before the Asia Pacific prep. Okay. All right. We'll be interested to see how that goes. Yeah, disappointed that it wasn't in Rocky though, because I love when these camps go rural and take them to places that aren't so the stock standard. It would have been really, really cool to see it take place in Rocky. Yeah, it would have been. So, anywho. Bugger. Right? That's all right. Well, Mitch, we've got another interview to add on to this podcast with some mates from the Northern Territory that you did at NTLs. So, guys, we're going to play that now, and then we'll come back to wrap up the podcast for this week.
Thanks, guys. I'm joined by TFA State Manager and Tour Leader of the Northern Territory Devils, Tyson Blanco. Tyson, thanks for jumping on the podcast.
Hey, thanks for having me, Mitch. It's great to be able to speak about touch footy in the Northern Territory with you guys.
And so, for our viewers, what is the game like in Northern Territory?
It's a lot of heads up. It's a lot of old school touch where players just sort of find the open holes, use their heads up ability to try and work out the game. But we've got a sort of new embracement of a lot of the new sort of tactical and technical touch that's coming on. So it's nice to see a mixed match of old styles with new and how it's developing and having good fun.
And how's the mixed open Bs team performing?
Well, we took a very good developing team away with us this week, and they're doing really well. We set them the task of going up against some of these really big state teams, really big challenges, and really just giving a crack, learning that this is going to be a challenge for them, but embracing that and finding new ways to defend, new opportunities. You know what? They've been great. They've developed as the week's gone on. We gave them a few tasks to work on, and they've been absolutely hammering it home. So been competitive as we've gone on.
Fantastic. And I think in May, you've got your state titles. So that'll be a massive tournament for you guys to look forward to after NTL's, the championships.
Yeah, absolutely. So we've got NT titles 1st to the 3rd of May up in Darwin. We play out of these beautiful stadiums in Marara. We bring up refs from all over the country. We love having invitational teams as well, so if anyone wants to bring a team up. But then it's a great opportunity to exhibit the expertise of NT Touch and some of our incredible people. It's really good seeing what people do, and again, the mixed mash of styles, tradition, and all of the clubs and teams coming together. It'll be fantastic this year.
Yeah, fantastic. And the overall game at grassroots with the kids and juniors, how's that going? I hear it's growing, which is great.
Yeah, it's growing at the moment. We've got a really good group, Catherine Touch at the moment. They have been incredible. They've got a new juniors program running. They had a little pilot last year, but then they were running it for the first time properly this year, and they're getting, I think, up to 65 registered already. So they're going to start developing a really good juniors program, and it's sort of setting a bit of a light up in the heart of the NT to help develop juniors all over the territory. So whatever we can do to help continue to develop grassroots, it's going to be the goal moving forward.
No, fantastic. And I bet you're involved heavily as the state manager, helping with programs like that and identifying other areas.
Yeah, absolutely. I work with some of our incredible people, whether it's the committees in the regions or other very passionate stakeholders in the game, and we just work on how we can support them to help support the game, because obviously everyone that's super passionate about the game, we've got a lot of them up in the territory, but they're willing to give their time, so I'm willing to give my time to them to see how we can get them in the best spaces to help utilise their expertise.
No, that's fantastic. We loved us hearing that the game's growing and you're doing a great job up there, I've been told by a lot of people, so well done, mate.
Oh, thanks for that, Mitch. I genuinely appreciate it, but I couldn't do it without the great people in the territory. Like, there's one of me, but there's a whole lot more that are committed and dedicated to the sport. So the more I can help them, the better.
Yeah, all those touch heads up in the Northern Territory. Thanks, mate. Great chat.
Thanks, Mitch. It's been a pleasure.
Welcome back, Danny. That was a good chat with Tyson. He's a good fella up there doing good stuff for TFA within the Northern Territory. So, we appreciate all the guys who gave up their time for a bit of a chat.
Yeah, I'm actually loving these little chats, Mitch. I'm hoping you're going to take your mic to the Asia Pacific Cup with Team China and get around to the countries there and do a little catch up with Mitch, because it's really good to touch base with all of the affiliates around the country, but it'll be really cool to touch base with some countries around the world. So
absolutely have to.
Yeah,
absolutely,
for sure. Cool. All right, guys. Well, short episode this week. We are going to wrap up for today. Now, we will be releasing our episode Thursday next week. There is some method to the madness, or Friday. I'm not really sure yet, but I will let you know, Mitch, and we'll sort that out. And then we will be having a little break while the Asia Pacific Cup is on, but we will definitely do a review after the Asia Pacific Cup. So stay tuned. Make sure you guys keep sending in your video recordings, audio recordings rather, not your video recordings. We don't want to see you. We want to hear from you. And we need to see some more activity on social media. Everyone's so shy, Mitch.
I know they are. It's hard. But, just everyone lives on their phones. So just
I know.
Drop us a message, send us a voice message, memo, whatever.
Like, comment. It doesn't have to be massive, guys, but just share the love. We want to interact with our community more. So if there's something you're not seeing from us that you want to see from us, DM us, let us know, and we'll make sure to cover it. But have a great week, Mitch.
You too, Danny.
Touch base next week.
See ya.
See ya.